Okay, this is Ballet Leotard 1. A little snug, especially in the upper body. I think that's probably been what's changed the most, the middle region. Since my legs are still dancing, the rest of me hasn't been quite up to snuff. I loved this leotard when I was in college. I am actually very happy that it still has elasticity to it. It feels way more comfortable than the other leotard did, but I remember wearing this for hours on end. I continue to use this one just because of how comfortable it is. So, and because I have a really short body, I feel like it makes me look a little bit longer in my torso, which is nice when you're teaching and you want to feel like you look your best. So I might stick with this one. Card number 3 is the spaghetti strap. So again, I don't know how long I've had this leotard, a little bit less than the halter one. I'm actually very impressed with how long these leotards last, considering they've been sitting in hibernation 12 years or so. So they still have all their elasticity. So kudos to the designers of these leotards. Don't get cheap leotards because look, these last. All right, it is so worth it. The cheap ones, they just shrivel up and disintegrate. So last but not least, I love this leotard. The only thing is it does come up a little bit high in the armpits, which could be a little bit annoying for hours on end. But it kind of has that long bodice look, which for me, I like because I am so short torsoed, and it feels really comfortable. It doesn't feel as supportive. I feel like I like this one the most. So I think I'm gonna stick with this. The only problem with it is it is cotton and lycra, so it tends to collect all the little fuzzies and things that can be caught throughout the house, especially if you have a dog, which I do, which I love. So I just wanted to talk for a second before we get started. Because I'm in my 40s and I've been dancing for a long time before I ended up teaching, just many, many years. I did get to a somewhat professional level, more with like a modern background. But ballet is your foundation for everything. So you need to have a really, really solid ballet background in order to become a professional dancer, outside of maybe hip hop. But even it helps with tap, it helps with jazz, it helps with contemporary, it helps with really every area of the performing arts. It helps with soccer players, football players, ice skaters have to take it, gymnasts have to take it. So really when you put your child in dance class or you set yourself up to start taking ballet even as an adult, you are helping yourself in ways you don't even know. But I'm in my 40s, so I've been dancing or at least teaching for many, many years now. Ballet class is so good in so many ways, and I just want everybody to have that experience. I want you to feel like I can do this. It's the most difficult art form on the planet, but when you learn specific things, you can take steps towards becoming a good dancer. And you can start right in your living room, but there are some technical things. So you would never be able to become a professional dancer if you didn't go to a studio and actually have an instructor. There are too many things that the human body does naturally or does strangely even when you're trying to learn something as technical as ballet. So if you are looking for good solid training, you do have to get into a studio. But if you're just looking to have some fun and learn a few things in the process, videos are a great way to do that. It can kind of just inspire you. Or maybe if you've had a background in dance at all, then this is a great way to kind of jump back into it. So that's what I'm hoping the classes will do for you, that you can use them as an at-home kind of guide or motivation or inspiration, and that will get you into moving in a different way and maybe trying something new. Okay, so we're gonna get started with just a plie exercise. I'm gonna kind of start in the middle of the road, assuming that either this is an adult or a teen beginner, and you're gonna begin with just some coordinating things. So typically when you first begin, you're only gonna do just the leg. I just feel like there's probably some dancers out there who just want to get moving again, and you want to feel like you're actually dancing and not just being instructed the whole time. So that's where this video is going to come from. So it's about a level 2, and at least where I've been focusing our training program. And I think that might help you a little bit. So you can feel free to follow along and just enjoy the class. All right, we're gonna get started with our plie exercise. I have to start the music and run to the bar. So do your best to follow along, and I will try to instruct you along the way in what we're doing. Cross to fit. 1, 2, 3, and then pull up the lower abdominals. Releve. 6, open. 7, 8, demi. 2, straighten. 3, 4, releve. 5, 6, open. 7, tendu. Fourth position. Knees wide. Make sure weight is even on both legs, straight and tall, releve, 6, open, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and close first. We're going to take a side vertebral, reach up and over towards your bar or chair, whatever you're holding on to. Arms come to first. You can press to releve. And finish. Moving on to a tendu exercise. The big thing about tendu is that you want to make sure that you are pushing and keeping the leg completely straight. So no bending of the knees on either leg, the one you're standing on or the one that's going to be doing the tendu. Make sure you go through something called demi point, where the toes are still on the ground, and then you stretch further to your full point. And we always want to keep in mind for ballet rotation. So rotation comes from the hip socket. You want to make sure you feel like the inside of your leg is going forward. So the inside of your leg is going forward and the outside of your leg is going backwards. So a constant rotation there, all while maintaining a really strong lower abdominal that feels like you're pulling up towards your belly button and your tailbone is going down to the ground. So our pelvis is kind of tilted naturally when we stand, and we're trying to get it just a little more vertical. And that's where your legs connect. So it's a really important part of having good posture and standing properly on your legs. You might notice that I have a little bit of a lean to my body. That's because I have scoliosis. I have close to a 40-degree curve in my spine in 2 different places. In fact, when I saw my x-rays, I was kind of shocked and I started crying. But I've been working with a chiropractor to help remedy that. It won't go back completely. It started when I was 12 and I didn't really continue getting help with it. So that's obviously something I should have done. So it has kind of caught up with me. It's starting to go backwards a tiny bit at a time because of the chiropractic care, but that's kind of a story for another day. All right, so here comes our tendu exercise. Now we're ready to do tendus. Remember to keep the legs straight and really work through the floor with your feet. We're taking tendu, front, flex the foot, point, close, and then push, squeeze in. Through demi point tendu, demi point close, push, flex, point, close to the back. Close to the front, tendu, close to the back. Pinky push and point, squeeze in, to the side, flex, point, close front, tendu, close back, tendu, close front. Really stretching and pointing the feet. You know how to use the head, use the head. Fork on your side, closing first. Okay, next we're going to work on our rond de jambe. So we're going to start with passe par terre, which means to pass on the floor. We're going to take 4 of those and then 2 nice slow rond de jambes. You'll notice that I use the head in this instance. Usually I build up to that. I get the kids to understand the exercise first. By the way, you'll notice I'm only doing this on one side. I tend to teach a lot with my right side and my left side doesn't get it, so I'm doing the left side. But you can just repeat the section for both sides and then know that that's probably the simplest way to go about it. So here's our rond de jambe exercise. After we do 4 passe par terre and 2 rond de jambe, we reverse the exercise. So we go from ande or to ande dan, and then we repeat it. We close fifth, and then we For this next exercise, we're going to practice a position called sur le coup de pied. Not everybody is super familiar with sur le coup de pied, the way the Russian style kind of teaches it. Many people refer to this position as coupe, but coupe actually means to cut, whereas sur le coup de pied means on the neck of the foot. So coupe implies an action step, whereas sur le coup de pied implies a position of the foot. So what I like to do is when I first teach sur le coup de pied, I tell the kids that this is like a tree. Your supporting leg is a tree. And then the working leg is like a snake. And we're gonna take the snake, we flex the foot, put the snake in the front of the tree, okay? Which they think is kind of fun because they've been working on stretching their legs, so now we're gonna bend the knees a little bit. The snake goes and wraps, so the heel goes in front and touches, and the rest of the snake wraps around the tree. And that is how they're gonna get their sur le coup de pied position. So it's not something that everybody uses all the time, but you will see it from time to time. It's a very difficult position to get, but it's the position that you would use when your foot is pointed in a tendu, okay? It's a little bit of a different shape just because of the ankle is extended, but we're trying to keep that position no matter what direction we go to. So that heel in front and toe behind feeling can go in any direction. Okay, so this is our wrapped position for sur le coup de pied. Heel in front, toe wraps around to the back, and then we also have a position where it goes same shape of the foot, but you bring it just in front of that little ankle bone, just above that where the pinky toe goes, but the heel is always pressing forward. So if I I go from a side angle, we always have that heel pushing away from the front of the leg, but that knee is opening really, really hard to the side. Okay, and it is the same when we go to the back. So the shape of my foot, again, doesn't change. It's this shape, but it's either front or to the back, okay? So that's some of the things that sometimes children need clarity on. I wouldn't recommend that you begin doing this exercise with frappes and that kind of thing until those feet positions are really, really clear. And make sure, again, you practice on both legs. So we have a flex, we have our tree. I'll do this on the other side. We flex the foot in front, okay, of the tree. We wrap the snake around the tree. That's our wrapped sur le coup de pied position, okay? So they learn that first. And then usually what I do once they learn that is they have to learn how to roll through their foot as well. So it's a great opportunity to prep for petit battements, which is a small opening, but we're just gonna open just below the knee where the foot kind of dangles in space, and then we touch the toe to the ground. We go to the ball of the foot, and I tell the kids to really keep their heel super high, and then let the heel come down, all right? So they do this, you can alternate legs or repeat 4 times on one leg and 4 times on the other. So this is excellent practice. I do this with even kind of beginner ballet classes. So before they get into ballet 1, about 6 to 8 years old, sometimes even 5-year-olds. It depends on if they've had some background and where they're at. They don't know how to hold their posture yet, but they can begin manipulating their feet and figuring that out a little. All right, so we're gonna do an exercise with that. Here we go. Flex the foot, wrap around the tree, open, toe, ball, heel. Flex the foot in front, wrap the snake around the tree, hold, open, toe, ball, heel. Flex the foot in front, wrap the snake around the tree, hold, open, toe, ball, heel. Flex in front, wrap the snake around the tree, hold, open, toe, ball, heel. Flex in front, wrap around the tree, hold, open, toe, ball, heel, and flex in front, wrap around, hold, open, toe, ball, heel. Flex in front, wrap the snake around the tree, sur le coup de pied, open, toe, ball, heel. Flex in front, wrap and hold, open, toe, ball, heel. Finish. Time to work on fondue. We're gonna do this. We need those sur le coup de pied positions in the front and the back, so those have to be known really well first. Where you take the wrapped position and move the foot to the front, or take the wrapped position and move it to the back of the leg. So you have to know those before you do any of your fondue exercises. Once students know the positions of the feet in sur le coup de pied, they can then move on to a frappe. So in Ballet 1, we teach frappe to a tendu on the ground, and frappe 2, it goes straight out from the ankle. But we still do them a little bit slower. Usually when you introduce frappe, you take it nice and slow with stretch, and then you bring it back in, so it's a nice straight line. Hopefully we've gotten through that in Ballet 1. So for Ballet 2, they should be able to go hold 2, 3, bring it in on 4. So that's what we're aiming for in this exercise. So it's just 4 en croix, and then we do nice slow petit battement where we practice just opening and getting to that back position in sur le coup de pied, and then again to the wrapped position. Okay, we take a balance and susu at the end. Here we go. And last but not least for our barre work, we're going to combine our développé with our grand battement. So in Ballet 1, they should have already had développés, at least to the side, and then you can break it down and do front and back separately before you add them into this exercise. But I like to add these ones together. Sometimes we just need to have a little shorter class. So that's what I'm doing in this one. Now we're going to do our center tendu, which is not as familiar for many of the Ballet 2 students. So we start out nice and slow with just half port de bras, first port de bras, second port de bras, and then we use a tendu in croisé, en face, and effacé, and then a quick tendu side, close back, and a susu in the center. It's quite a struggle for them to balance this, but it's a good place to start. You can always use it at the end of class if you're running out of time. Use your port-de-bras and that little tendu and add a curtsy at the end because it is hard to get all the technical stuff in there.